All right. Double audio. Is this what we've got here?
You got a minute.
Oh, I got a minute. Man,
All the paperwork comes flooding in.
there you go. I'm ready for it. Everyone who wants leads is going to be here.
I'm sure.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, so by show of hands, who has more leads than they can or than they are capable of handling right now?
Like a half an hour.
That's okay. That's cool. Cool. So for everyone who doesn't have more leads than they can handle, this is good stuff. Take note.
See?
There we go. All right. So I want everyone to write this down. Okay. Everyone grab a pen, grab a paper, grab something to write with, and let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay. Everybody ready? My business has no problems until I have more clients than I am capable of servicing.
Should probably repeat that.
All right. My business has no problems until I have more clients than I am capable of servicing. Okay. All right, everyone, say it with me. My business has no problems until I have more clients than I am capable of servicing. Okay, there we go. All right, let's unpack that a little bit, right? Everyone familiar with the 3 L's of real estate? Leads, listings, leverage. All right. So if we want to take listings, which is what everyone wants, we have to, and that's, buyer listings, seller listings, like agencies. If we want to take agencies, then we have to have leads. And what will happen is once we get a lead, we'll stop trying to get more leads, and then we won't have any leads. And if we don't have any leads, we don't have any listings. And if we don't have any listings, we don't have any money. So what happens is, and I was guilty of this too, is we start building the business, but we don't have the leads for the business, and then the business suffers. And we wonder why, because we've built this great business. It's because we're focused on the wrong problems. So what we want to do is we want to focus on the right problem. So what we're going to do today is we're going to solve the problem that everyone in the room, with the exception of like a half hand here or there, that's their only problem, right? Once you have more leads, then we can figure out the other stuff. And again, capable of servicing. Like, so let's take an example of like, okay, maybe I need to figure out something to organize my CRM, right? That is a point where you will have more leads than you're capable of servicing. If you don't have a good CRM, you can't keep up with your leads, and therefore you need to, fill those things into command and make sure that you're able to keep up with them that way. But we do that after we find the leads. So who here in the last 90 days has generated a lead? Okay, pretty much everyone. How did you generate that lead? Conversations? Conversations with who?
People that I know.
People that you know. Great. What about you guys? You generated a lead? Facebook posts? They like commented on that post?
Yeah, well, they reached out.
Great. I love that.
Lauren Blake and I did with our Uber driver the other night.
There you go.
You wouldn't remember.
I generated a lead on my way to Southside and
And
in a bar at Southside. Lauren doesn't remember that. All right, Allie, where did your last lead come from?
Circle of influence.
Lauren, where did your last lead come from?
Yeah. Did you?
Open house? Okay. Last lead?
I said, in the car, the Uber driver.
That was my lead.
I brought up real estate.
I took his name down. Your last lead was Rentwell.
Yeah.
You probably had a bigger pockets lead in the last 90 days, right? Yeah. All right. So everyone here is capable of generating a lead. Now, overwhelming majority of those leads came from people that we already know. So open house, that's not someone we already know, bigger pockets, but social media and conversations with people, those are people that we already know. So if you went to Business Planning Clinic, there was this little graphic that everyone saw. And I think it did a really good job of cementing to me why database is important. So if we want leads, because we know leads are the only problem, right? Nobody has any other problems. We need to have more people in our sphere of influence, right? Once those people come into our sphere of influence, then they can become clients. There's no other order than that can go, right? If you meet someone on Bigger Pockets, they're going to become someone you know before they become your client. If you meet someone at an open house, they're going to become someone you know before they become your client, right? So what we want to do is we just want to expand the amount of people that we know. And today we're going to talk about some ways to do that. So I want to dive into how everyone got this last lead, really break that apart and see how we can do it again. So let's start with yours. You said you had a conversation with someone you know. How did that come up?
Actually, it was a conversation with a friend of my husband, and we got started talking. He said, "Oh, I didn't know that." And we were from there. She has a house that she's trying to sell, so it was a natural organic conversation.
Right. Awesome. So to give a summary, I don't know if it came through on Zoom, natural organic conversation. It was you said a friend of your husband.
Mhm.
So just a regular conversation that led to real estate, right? Mine in the Uber.
We were talking about the tower going into foreclosure downtown.
Yep. And he said, "Oh, are you real estate agents?"
Mhm.
Boom, natural conversation. What about your lead that you generated from your sphere of influence?
Well, I have 5 things coming up, and they were all just from people that I've continued to touch systematically and check in with, and all of them just reached out to me and said, "Will you come take one?"
Okay, show of hands, how many people want 5 listings right now? 5 agencies? Okay, I want 5 agencies, right? Okay, so we had one no, and the rest were yeses. So Allie said that she took 5 listings from people that she already knew. Okay, how do you stay in contact with those people?
Should be more systematic than it is, but I'm friends with them on social media, so I am posting, so they are seeing social media. Then get some type of email from me, whether it's a newsletter, a neighborhood snap, or HomeBot, and they're all more once a quarter, but less than once a month. I will text or call, just touch base, because I know they have been staying, and I know at some point they're gonna. So they're like in my pipeline, and they are top of my mind, so I stay top of them.
There you go. So, everyone here is familiar with the brain rattler that I give out, right? If you're not familiar with it, there's a copy right here. It's got a list of people that you might know, like, and trust. So if Allie was able to take 5 listings from the people that she knows and is staying in touch with, I mean, some people might know more people than others. I know Deanna knows a lot of people, right? But Deanna knows more people than I know
Yes, for.
in Pittsburgh.
Whole city.
You know the whole city, Deanna. We might know different amounts of people, but everyone knows people. Right? So if you thought that I was going to come tell you about how you should start sending mail and, doing door hangers and those kind of things, I am going to tell you that. But I'm not going to tell you that if you've skipped over the people that you already have in your contacts. Right? There's a really good reel I saw from a real estate investment mastermind that said you have enough business for the next 90 days in your database right now. Whether that's your contacts on your phone, whatever your database is, you have enough business for the next 90 days right there, right now. So what I think we should all do right now is make a plan of action for staying in touch with the people in our database, because we have no other problems. We have no other problems until we have enough leads.
So that's what we're doing, I told everybody this part of this. The base, got these cards from Amazon, and got these. And I just went, fine, I was just checking in, just to hope everything was okay. If you need anything, give me a call, nothing about real estate, nothing. And so I did get a call. So, yeah, so it works.
Yeah.
I didn't get business, but it works.
So for Zoom, Deanna just ordered cards on Amazon and wrote a nice little note that said, hey, something along the lines of, I've been thinking of you. Do you need anything? Give me a call. Nothing about real estate, just being a good friend. And she already got a call.
People forget what's not in front of them.
People forget. You have handwritten card too, personalized.
That person doesn't transact with her, like, one of the leads that I got is somebody that I systematically, oh, my aunt has to sell her house. And went and did that walkthrough, and while I was in that walkthrough with Denise, she was like, oh, and I want to sell my property in Corey, like. So even if they might not transact with you, I know we call them raving fans, or our VIP people that aren't going to transact with me in the next 1 year, 2 year, realistically, but they're like, I stay top of their mind, because then they're talking about me to everybody that they know, and that's how I know people.
Right. So if you don't know, if you're like me and you don't know a lot of people in Pittsburgh, right? The people I know do know a lot of people in Pittsburgh. And those are the people that you want to tap into. You want to find those people that are those natural connectors, and you want to be in front of them as much as you can. Almost every 2 weeks. If it's not every 2 weeks, they're going to forget about you. I don't know what I did 2 weeks ago. So, real quick, I know Deanna, you weren't here when we did it. Allison, you joined on Zoom. Who can tell us the very important lesson that we learned today that we all wrote down? All right, everyone should be raising if you were here, you should be raising your hand right now. Okay, you can say it.
My business has no problems until I have more clients that I'm capable of servicing.
Right. So that's the lesson for today. We have no problems until we have more leads than we can handle. So let's take a look at that systematic approach, right? So we all need to pick something. It can be different, right? For Deanna, it was sending cards. For Allie, it's sending text messages. For me, it's just giving people a call. That's usually the best thing for me. I struggle to sit down for long enough to handwrite cards. So I just like to give people a call. Which one of those things kind of speaks to you so that we can dive into it a little bit? Like what's something that you want to do to stay in touch with the people that already know, like, and trust you?
I like the card idea, it's less like people energy for me.
Right.
And what I'm saying, I think this is what some worship goes. people don't really get mail.
Mhm. Yeah.
They get a lot of junk mail.
Yeah.
So when they see something handwritten, you know, that can stand for, you know, not helpful. So if they know it's coming from me, it's kind of like, you know, some junk.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely for.
Absolutely. Handwritten and actually care. Like really do care about the people. You know, we don't,
Not to make up who knows a friend who comes to business? How many handwritten cards have you gotten from that person?
none.
That's something Jeremy talks about, like we send a postcards, we're sending mail. Yeah, like we're spending all the time with people that don't know us. When I know that if my friend comes to business sent me something, bring that in here, I would put it on the table, I would display that everywhere.
Absolutely. I agree. If you don't want to do postcards, if you're like me, Allie, do you mind if we role play a little conversation? Ring ring. Hey, Allie, it's Blake. How are you doing? Good, good. Hey, I've really just been trying to, stay in touch with, the people I know a little bit more. So I've just been giving people random calls. I know it's a little weird, but I've just been trying to do it to stay in touch with people. I'm curious, like, what have you been into?
But same old, kids, work, life. You know, living the dream. How about you?
Oh, yeah, I love it. Just working really hard, working on trying to build up this real estate business, blah, 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 blah.
Real estate, that's great. I'm it's the market.
Oh, the market's very interesting. What makes you ask?
Interest rates are growing, that all of the things I hear on the news, I just wasn't sure, what was real, what wasn't. We've lived in our house for 5 years. I wonder what it's worth.
Boom. So we can break there. That not a good example. Like no, not you. But like the way I did it, like I didn't know what I was saying. Like you can script it out a little bit better. But if Allie didn't say, here's what I'm doing, what are you doing? Like Allie doesn't care, right? But she did care. And so if you're calling someone that actually has some type of connection to you, they're gonna ask, what are you doing in return? So like don't follow my lead with like the, oh hey, I know this is weird. Like call and do whatever is natural to you. But when you say, hey, what are you doing? The person's going to ask back. Either that or they don't care. And in that case, you probably don't want them in your sphere of influence anyway. You want the people in your sphere of influence that care about you. Right? So the people who care about you, they're going to ask what you're doing. You're going to say, and then they're going to ask about the market because they always do. You make sphere calls. They always ask about the market. First question people ask. You're going to say, interesting. Why do you ask? And then they're going to tell you because they're interested in it, because they own real estate or because they want to buy real estate. If they don't, everyone wants to. And if they do own it, they want to know what it's worth. So that's the perfect way to do that. Same thing happens the other direction. If you write the card, say, hey, reach out to me if you need anything. Deanna's going to catch up with them. Oh my goodness, what have you been into? Because Deanna actually wants to know what her friend has been doing. Right? And then they're going to say, oh, I've been doing this. What have you been doing? And the conversation is going to go the same way. The only difference is in one scenario, they call you, and in another scenario, you call them. It makes no difference. You're having a phone call either way.
One script that we went over in full, can't say script anymore. One conversation that we went over in full was, and it was super corny. And so, like Blake said, make it your own. Because I totally would say, hey, it's totally weird. But that's just my personality. But being the fourth quarter, the conversation was, hey, I'm finishing up the year of intention, and I'm just checking in on people that I haven't talked to in a while. That isn't an actual word that I would say, but I would make it my own. Like, hey, I'm finishing the new year with whatever the reason is. And you can Facebook message that, you can text that, you can call that. I'm a big video messenger, so I would send video messages to people that I haven't seen or talked to in a really long time because it was my voice and it was my face, but I didn't actually have to call them. And if somebody called me and said that 100%, but I think that was weird, but would I say that was weird? Why would you call me and say that? Absolutely not. Nobody's ever actually said that. And I use that at the beginning of the year, in the first quarter, and starting the year off, and at the end of the year is a good way to wrap it up. So like the reason I'm calling you, and it's like a personal thing, like I'm just trying to finish my year, in a good note. Everybody's all about health and wellness right now, like mental mindset. So just another conversation to play with.
Absolutely. Also, there's like 3 options. 80% of the time, you're just gonna have a conversation. Might be a little awkward, but I guarantee you think it's more awkward than they do because you're like trying to make a sale and they don't know that. Option number 2, you're going to get a lead, and that lead is going to be the path to a $7,000 commission check. Right? That's a pretty good, even if it's 20%, that's a pretty good option. And option number 4 is they say something really rude and you're like, man, that person wasn't my friend. And then you're going to keep calling more people and realize the ones that actually are your friends. And they're not going to say something really rude. Like, don't let that stop you from calling. It's not going to happen. I don't know. In all the database calls that I've made, I've had more non-answers than I've had snarky replies.
I know for
So
the,
one of the things to, Jimmy saying, I said this would be the next step, is, sort of house to this, that, the other. And basically go back, and it's not taking that out of the person's money, because, you were part of that transaction. Also, right now, because 9 times out of 10, they don't even remember their road, because there was no.
Right. Yep. I like Tim Beverlin at Business Planning Clinic said that within 2 weeks, you forget about things. Like, let's all try to think right now, like, what did you do 2 weeks ago today on a Tuesday? I don't know. I know I was probably at the office.
we were in Virginia.
Oh,
We were in.
I was in Virginia 2 weeks ago and I didn't even remember. Like, yeah, it's, so you have to stay front of mind with people. So that doesn't mean you need to call them every 2 weeks, but maybe you send them a text, 1 week, maybe you send them an email another week, newsletter, HomeBot, whatever the way is that you're staying in touch.
I know too, for the cards, because it can be kind of like a big time commitment if you're like, oh no, I have to sit down and write like 20 of these. Laura, an agent I know, she's also KW up in New York. She like did it with another agent in her office where they tried to make a chain to see how many days in a row they could do it, and she would just write 1, like in the mornings. So it took her like a minute then, and it wasn't an add to her day to like sit down and commit to it. Mhm.
Everyone thinks that's a good habit, right? Yeah. So let's do now that
Tim said when he makes a phone call about 2 weeks, hey, this is Tim. 2 things are true, right? This is
Mhm.
Tim. Who was your house last year, and you might not remember me.
It's like an uncontestable fact.
Yes, and like these 2 things they can't argue, right? Like, I'm Tim and I sold your house, and you might not remember me. And then the question is yes or no. Are you still living in the house? What was the other one?
Why do you live in the house? They say yes.
Or no, I don't know what the question was, but it was like something so easy.
yeah, an easy question to
Like, so
answer.
for the past sale, like, I sold your house, you might not remember me, do you still live there? Or do
Yeah.
you still live there, or do you still, based on the sale? Investment or whatever.
It's like in
So we're gonna
my notes here, but I gotta find it.
level up. All right. So everyone wrote down, right? Everyone has it. Hold up where you wrote down your little thing. Okay. You've got it. Does anyone disagree with this? So it's, again, my business has no problems until I have more clients than I am capable of servicing. So if you do disagree with that, that's fine. Let's talk about it. Going once? Going twice? Okay, so we've all agreed that our only problem that we're facing now is more business. Okay. And does anyone disagree with the fact that we have to know more people to get more clients? Any objections? Going once, going twice? Great. So now what we're going to do, unless we don't want to make more sales, which is fine, we don't have to, we're going to meet more people. We've already agreed that that's our only problem and that we have to meet more people to do that. So let's start with 1. Whether it's writing a call or writing a card or making a call.
That's cute.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Whether it's writing a card or making a call, is there any reason that you couldn't do that today? Just 1.
One of the things I like, and I didn't follow up, but it brain that they were still within the question. She said for me to invite, my past clients doing it, right? And they pay for it. They pay for her own, but worked out writing, but we weren't able to talk with step. But 20 people showed up. And, you know, it was conversations, people meeting other people, and I still deposit everything in, and I'm like, oh, so it's been 3 months. But, you know, I invited them to a restaurant, they paid for their own food, their own drinks, right? And we could talk once there. Right. So I learned a lot about Sue Pittman, who works here, I mean, what citizens keep telling me. I learned so much about her, kind of thing then, that I would have never known previous.
Who else wants a story to tell like that? There you go. Okay, so everyone accepted the calendar invite today. And if you remember, that calendar invite was from 11 to noon. And it's 11:25, which means we've got 35 minutes to write one card or make one phone call. Unless you don't want to make money, and that's fine. But otherwise, we have no problems in our business until we have more leads, and we should take the first step because the first step's always the hardest.
Can we go get the cards?
That's okay. So what I would encourage everyone to do now, you don't have to, no one's gonna check, nobody's gonna walk around. I would encourage everyone to do 2 things. Number 1, if you are currently one of my coaching clients, find this little QR code, scan it, book a meeting. If you are not currently one of my coaching clients and you're wondering how to get more leads, also find this little QR code, book a meeting. Like it's free. So I would do that to have an evaluation on how we can build more leads. And in the meantime, do not do that until you have called one person or written one card, because it's not worth talking about all the different ways if we're not going to do the work. There we go. I'm going to go write a card. Awesome. All right, let's get after it.